All right, so I wanted to make one more problem type, and I think this one is super cool. It's also the most complicated out of all the ones, but it's basically, I can give you an example of it. So on the first day, I had this silly do now problem about guessing my age, and this is the student view of it. And what's cool is like, they can type in their answer and then submit it. Um, but then also on the next slide, they can actually see each other's guesses. So here's that most recent guess 45 right there, and then you can actually see kind of what my students actually guessed. Um, and then later on we actually calculated it, but this isn't really about my age. This is about just like kind of a cool problem type where I think students are estimating something and then they're able to see their estimate. As well, I also displayed the class average, um, which was 32, it looks like now with that extra data point right here. Um, yeah, 32 exactly. All right, so let's see how we make a problem type where we're asking the students to estimate something and then sharing all of their answers with the entire class. So I'll probably have to cheat for this one and look back on my old work. But here we go. Let's just say pick a number will be the name of the slide. And then we can create a note here and it will say something like, oh no, yeah, pick a number from 1 to 10. And then we can create like a little numerical input here, a math input below. All right, so I'm going to cheat back already, and let's see if I do anything else on this slide. Nope. Well, the one thing we do is we do need to give the number that they put in, that box, we need to give it a name. So I'll call this guess 1 or something. All right, so the way that Desmos processes all of their guesses is instead of processing it through the computation layer, Desmos processes it through a combination of the computation layer and a graph. So we'll create a new slide here, and we'll create a graph. And I guess this could go on that same slide, but for me it got a little crowded. But I also liked the idea that when I wanted them to see their answers, then I could push them all to the next slide and see them all together instead of seeing them as they were typing in their numbers. So here we go, we've got our graph. Let's edit our graph. So the first thing I'm going to do is, well, we want to display their guesses. And we said that their guesses were going to be from 0 to 10. So their guesses are going to be on the y-axis. So let's make it go from -1 to 11, just a little bit of extra room on the y-axis. And then for the x-axis, what we can do is we can do something like -1 to, I don't know, 30 students. And we can press that we're done there. And so now we've got a nice graph that has all their guess ranges here. So student 1 puts in like a 5, then it should be something like this dot here. Student 2 puts in like a 6. It'll be this dot here. So we just need to get that information. So basically, in order to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to start off with a list. So let's start off with n equal to the list, I don't know, 3 or something. And then let's do a cheat here, and I'll go and I'll look at my old video, or my old thing here. So then A is going to be a list from 1 all the way to the length of n, which makes a lot of sense. Each person that guesses, this will be guess 1, guess 2, guess 3, guess 4, and guess 5. So as n grows, A will grow to match the same length as n. And then next up, what we need to do is we need to graph these points. So it's going to be A comma n, I believe. Let's see if that's true. Yeah, it's going to be A comma n. And then we can look at that last part later on. So A comma n looks like we're set here. So the last thing we need to do is as the students guess that number from 1 to 10, or they put in that number from 1 to 10, we need to collect all those answers and pull them in. So to do that, what we're going to do is let's edit the graph here. Oh, no, not edit the graph here. Let's click this little programming thing. So we're going to edit the script. And this is one of their advanced functions here. So we can scroll down here and it says aggregating across students. And this is exactly what we want to do. So in our graph, in our graph, that has to match what we're putting in here. We called it n, the number list. So what we're going to do here is in the programming, we'll call it n as well. So we'll say number list n, and we want that to be aggregate. And then what the input was we called it guess1 dot numeric value. So we'll pull the numeric value from that guess one thing. And so this is going to set the number list to an aggregate of all of their guesses. Okay, so this should actually work. Let's see if we can preview it. So pick a number from 1 to 10. I'll pick 5, submit, and then I'll go next, and we'll see a bullet point there. The first student picked 5. If we change our answer here to 10, submit, next, it will change it to 10. And this should work. Even if we have all 30 students do it, they should all be able to see their number choices. So the last thing I think it's really useful is when you have all that data you're gathering, it might be nice to just be able to see the average, a line across for the average. So to do that, we can cheat and look at my old code here. What you want to do is you want to total up all of the numbers from their guesses and then divide by the length there. So I'm just going to copy and paste this. So we'll make a function where that will be not the script actually, it's just one of the equations on it. So y equals total n divided by length n. And then we can change the color here. Instead of changing whether it's displayed, we can change that coloring to purple and dashed or dotted. Let's do dashed. Cool. Done and done. All right, so with one student in the class, if we preview it, when I pick a 4, on the next slide, it should show that, yep, I picked a 4 and the average value is 4. But that should work for all of the students, and we should have like a pretty cool, nice scatter plot to gather information that all of the students can see when you go to this slide.